full council meeting. Thank you for being flexible with changing it to Zoom. Obviously, with the current weather warning in place, we felt it was inappropriate to try and get everyone together. But nonetheless, thank you for getting online with Zoom. It has been some time since we've done a full council, I think, by Zoom, so this will be interesting. All I ask is, where possible, if you've got background noise, etc., that you do mute yourself and then come off mute as you're required to talk. You can use the raise the hand function using the React on the bottom of your screen, depending on what device you're using. If that isn't something that's easy for you to use, just raise your hand and I will try and make sure that I've covered everyone. If not, just speak out and make me aware. But we'll make the best of using Zoom as we can. Otherwise, agenda item 1, apologies, Madam Clerk.
Apologies have been received from Councillor Derek Abbott and Councillor Kevin Abbott.
Thank you very much. Agenda item 2 then, declarations of interest. Councillor Woodham.
Yeah, under agenda item 10, the Public Events Subcommittee, the Christmas grant donations, there's a proposal that Christmas Together receives a donation of £100. So I'm going to declare a personal and prejudicial interest in that matter, and I'll leave the meeting when that's under discussion.
Okay, thank you very much. Just to add, although declared at the meeting at that time, I know both Councillor Sharp and I think Councillor Hartevelt, I was just trying to find the minutes actually, all declared personal interest at the time, which I recorded in those minutes. Councillor Sharp?
I was going to ask, as we recorded, you just took the words out, as we recorded it at the time, do I need to record them again, or?
No, just made reference to it, so as long as you're content with that.
Could I just, sorry to interrupt you, Mr. Mayor, could I just say that could we minute something, if you may be saying something, so shoot me down, if about Wendy Abbott?
Yeah, we will do under news from the Mayor normally.
Okay, sorry, I'm shut up.
At least we can mute you now. Right, any other declarations of interest? Sorry. Councillor Sinnott.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think I can't access at the moment the papers for the meeting, but the item linked to the library,
yes.
I just need to declare an interest as a cabinet member for leisure and cultural services.
Not a problem. Agenda item 11 then.
11, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Jones. I was trying to remember if it's Jones or Davis, and I can't remember which way.
I'll answer to either, don't worry.
Right, okay.
I'm just going to say State and Community Group for the donations as well.
Yes, yeah, good point, thank you. Okay, I think that's everyone covered. So, agenda item 3, question and answer session with members of the public. Madam Clerk, have we received any?
No, we haven't.
All right, thank you very much. Agenda item 4 then. So news from the Mayor. I will start, as Councillor Sharp has alluded to sending our sympathies and thoughts to Councillor Derek Abbott at this sad time of the passing of his wife, Wendy. Wendy, obviously a Citizen Award holder for her sterling work with the Army Cadets in Milford Haven, which will be a sad loss to both the Army Cadets and the community. And our thoughts go out to Derek and his family at this sad time. On a very positive note, though, Councillor Hartevelt, on behalf of the council, please do share our sincere congratulations to all at Megan Star Foundation for the fantastic news of the King's Award for Voluntary Services.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
No worries. Thank you, and congratulations to all. We look forward to seeing the celebrations as you continue with that news. I believe the only group in Pembrokeshire as well.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we're totally humbled. Yeah, thank you so much. I'll pass your wishes on. Thank you.
And then just a reminder that Saturday is our Christmas light switch on. Fingers crossed for good weather. So we don't mind having the bad weather today, as long as Saturday means that the event can go ahead. Obviously, last year we weren't able to
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
continue with it. But of course, any councillor that's available or willing to come and support, please do let the clerk know so that we can utilise you as required. And I know we've got the rest of the meeting, and I have no doubt that I'll continue to see some of you before Christmas. But on behalf of the council, can I take this opportunity to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you and your family members.
Nadolig
Llywyn.
Nadolig Llawen. Bendigedig. Right, agenda item 5 then is mayor's engagements. Apologies for them being late. I sent them this morning, but they didn't get into the inbox of the admin email. So I don't know if I sent them to the right admin email address. Nonetheless, Fiona noticed that I hadn't sent them, and they are with you. A couple of lovely events over recent weeks, which is lovely. Unless there's any comments, I'll move on to agenda item 6, councillor engagements and community activities. Again, they were sent out this morning. We'll move receipt unless there's any comments or questions. Agenda item 7, then feedback on councillor representation on outside bodies. Verbal update. Is there any outside bodies representation since the last meeting anyone would like to bring up to date with? Okay, agenda item 8, then questions without debate pursuant to standing order number 6. Madam Clerk.
No, we haven't received any.
Thank you. Agenda item 9, then minutes of the meeting of the full council held on the 10th of November 2025, which is page 89.
Move receipt, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, and do we have a seconder? So all those in favour? I think that's all hands up. But to be on the safe side, anyone against? None. Agenda item 10 then, to receive reports, recommendations and resolutions for the following committees. So the Social Media Committee, page 86. And because it's a committee, I'll go page by page. So page 86. Page 87. And page 88.
Move receipt, Mr. Mayor, if there's no question.
Excellent. Do we have a seconder?
Seconded.
Thank you. All those in favour? Yeah, I think that was unanimous. But to be on the safe side, anyone against? Okay. The second part of the agenda item 10 then is the public events subcommittee held on the 17th of November, page 97.
So, Mr. Mayor, I'm just going to leave the meeting now.
Oh, yes, good point. Thank you. Okay, so page 97, page 98, page 99, and page 100.
Again, unless any receipt, any questions, move receipt, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, do we have a seconder?
Seconded.
Okay, all those in favour? Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Sharp, before I continue, do you want to shout to Councillor Woodham to come back in?
Guy! Subtle.
He forgot to mute himself.
Minutes to the library. Okay.
Yeah, Councillor Woodham's returned.
I think I heard my love.
Yeah, so did we. He forgot to mute before shouting. Right, agenda item 11 then, minutes of the meeting of the Library Partnership Group held on the 21st of November. You see attached. There's no page numbers, but there is 3 pages to this, so I'll just call them page 1, 2, and 3. So page 1, Councillor Gray.
Yeah, on the thank you, Mr. Mayor. When the group was set up, I was under the impression that you asked, like you do for all the forums, people put their names forward to be on this. I didn't put my name forward to be on here.
No, at the time, this one was set up with the mayor, deputy mayor, and the chairs and vice chairs of the 2 groups. So I think you did come to the initial meeting.
But I didn't put my name forward.
No, you're correct, but the role that you currently hold did.
Why?
Because good question. At the time, that's what we asked for.
Okay.
It's a bit like establishment, chair of finance, chair of public, not public, planning, etc. Are automatic members. But and depending on the outcome of our precept discussion, will depend on whether this group continues, although there is a review meeting set for January following the precept.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so that's page 1. Oh, sorry, Councillor Sinnott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just wondering how the proposal would be taken forward. Will it form part of the precept discussions, the additional funding required for the library, or is that a decision that council will make this evening?
Well, that's again another good question. So based on the last meeting, we decided that we wanted to put some sort of survey out to gain responses, which the results are in page 2 and 3 and were shared with the partnership group at the time. From that, then it would be our decision whether we would support that. One thing I left that group with is that whilst we could in theory make a decision tonight around our support, one thing that we couldn't guarantee until the precept meeting is the actual amount of funding that we could commit to, because as we know, the precept discussion can change our decision depending on the increase, etc.
So in effect, Mr. Mayor, you're saying defer any decision on funding for the library until it's considered as part of the precept discussions.
Well, effectively, I guess I am, which is why the next library partnership group meeting was penciled in for the day after. I think it is actually the precept meeting, because then they'll have the most up-to-date information, and we know then what are the next steps from our point of view as a council. Okay, so page 2 and then page 3. Any further comments?
Move receipt then, Mr. Mayor.
Do we have a seconder? Okay, all those in favour? Okay, thank you. I think that was unanimous, but there are a couple of cameras off, so I'm just going to check for against or abstaining. Okay, thank you. Oh, sorry, Councillor Gray.
Are we voting that this is a true record of the meeting or for something else?
No, true record, the minutes as a whole. Yeah. So any decision now on our financial support will be made at the precept meeting on the 12th of January, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Agenda item 12 then, the annual return for the year ended 31st of March 2025. Please see attached.
Noisy neighbours.
It just becomes with the report and audit opinion. Councillor Sharp.
Yeah, I think it's a very in-depth report and well produced. And I think unless there are any questions, I think again it's a move receipt and thank all those people involved in doing the report.
Do we have a seconder?
Yeah.
Okay. And any other comments? Otherwise, all those in favour? Okay. Anyone against or abstaining? Agenda item 13 then, planning matters. 13A is outstanding planning applications. And we can see there's 3 planning applications all to be considered this evening.
I think it's coming.
Councillor Bridges, I think you're online. Did you want to add any commentary to the applications?
No, Mr. Mayor. I mean, I've recommended them all for approval. Ultimately, as with always, whether they meet any criteria PCC set to them is another question. But on principle, I support all applications.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay. In which case, unless there's any further comments or questions, we'll recommend them for approval. Do we have a seconder for that? Okay, thank you. All those in favour? Okay, excellent. 15B then is the planning application. It's it's safe for information only, and they've been recommended for approval. So unless there's any questions, we'll move receipt on those. So we've got a seconder.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all those in favour?
Yeah.
Thank you. And then 13C is planning notifications. Again, it does say for information only, but they're all conditionally approved by Pembrokeshire County Council. So unless there's any questions or comments, we'll move receipt. So we've got a seconder.
Yep.
Okay, all those in favour? Thank you very much. Right. Agenda item 14 then, section 42, David Act 1987. That's a great year, by the way. Application to register an easement at Pinecroft, Pilgreen, Milford Haven. I think this has to be the first time I've ever seen one of these. Mr. Deputy Mayor.
I'm just trying to actually understand this. I've got the plan in front of me. I don't know if the chair of planning can help at all via you, but what exactly are they actually proposing here?
I think it's about the access, is it, to the property? Unless I'm misreading that.
But it's already there, isn't it?
Maybe it is informally. I'm not quite sure. Councillor Bridges, you've unmuted. Are you able to advise as the chair?
No, I will state in this instance, Mr. Mayor, in fact, I have not had an opportunity to look into this specific matter, so I'm not actually familiar with the exact what they are exactly asking for.
Okay.
I know it refers to a right of giving them a right of way, but I'm not familiar with exactly what they're requesting in this instance. I apologise.
That's okay, no problem. Councillor Gray.
Yeah, on this particular one, I did ask because I know that green has village green status, legal status for no development. So I did ask the question, and Madam Secretary got the answer back to say it won't affect any of it. It's more or less, like a drive.
Okay.
If that makes anything. So I said, oh, okay then.
Thank you for that. That's useful. Councillor Jones, you're testing me tonight because you haven't got your surname there.
Listening, anything. I did have a look on the things, but all of the information literally just looks like maybe it's just to make it official, because it all looks like it's exactly the same as it is already.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like anything different.
Maybe it's an informal one that they're already using.
Or maybe it was actually 2 individual properties or something off of it. But yeah.
Okay. Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, just looking through a little bit, an easement is for a specific purpose. It's also a right of way for them to access utilities and things to the property as well. So it could well be a driveway. It could also be for other reasons, such as them wanting utility work to go ahead or something there. I can't find out a lot more. And when I looked earlier on about this particular application, I couldn't find anything either. That's
Yes.
hence the reason for my question. So personally, I've got no objection to it.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Sharp, you had your hand raised.
Merely for the same reasons, actually, because I didn't understand what it meant. But then I did a Google search, and I looked, and exactly the same as Councillor Woodward said. It is the right to cross or otherwise use someone else's land for a specific purpose. So I think they probably are looking at a drive or off-street parking, and
Yeah,
you've got to apply for that first. But I don't have any problem with it anyway. So.
and I think looking at the picture, the map that is, Shell Cottage and Bramble Cottage obviously use that as an entrance, so that easement is making it official to access Pinecroft, perhaps.
Yeah.
Councillor Jones?
I would say it might be worth just checking on one thing, because if it is for getting utilities in, what kind of disruption to there is going to mess up people's access to their homes and also the social club?
I don't think it affects the uphill social, because I think where it says Pill Green, just up slightly, that's the down to the
If it's
Cellar Hill. That's
on the green,
yeah.
opposed to not on the path, I'm more concerned if it would block access, prevent access because of works being on for people that actually live down there. Presumably they'd be warned in advance or whatever, but would the social club also be affected? I don't know. It's just
No, I don't believe so. I think it's further down slightly. This bit, particular easement. Councillor Bridges?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I apologize. There's no option for me to put my hand up virtually on here. I don't know why, but so I'm not sure if there's
I think it's under the react button on this.
I can't find it anyway, but I'll just put my hand up normally.
No worries, it's fine. Either's fine.
There's no formal sort of application come through for this, which I think is why it slipped by me. But the question I would ask, whether the clerk is aware of, is has the tenant in question, also the tenant, the property owner, whatever it may be, has the resident actually made any objection to said request? If they haven't, they're the one person obviously who would be more incensed about it than anybody. So if they haven't, and then I don't see why we would want to oppose it if we haven't had any notification from the resident that they're unhappy with it as such, because I presume they've been consulted about it, in this process. So if there is no objection that we're aware of, then I don't see why we should object to it. But that's just an observation.
Madam Clerk, aware of any?
None, no.
None, okay. Councillor Sharp?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to make everybody aware that it doesn't affect the bill in any way. If anything, if that is the image of, say, for example, a driveway, it would obviously come off of the road there. The only thing is that's further down where the bus stop is, further down there. So whether that may cause any inconvenience to the bus stop, but I very much doubt it. I can't see any reason for objecting to this. They're only asking for permission to get access at this particular point.
So in which case, unless there's any furthering amendments, I think the general consensus is that we have no objection to this request. So do we have a seconder for that?
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favour? There was lots of seconds then. Thank you. I don't think anyone was against. I think that was unanimous. Okay. Agenda item 15, flowers for Milford Haven 2026. So there's the report and the financial costs breakdown the cost and then the breakdown of the flowers. Any questions or observations or recommendations?
I mean,
sorry, Councillor Bridges.
Only one question, sorry. So can I understand what flowers are these for? Where are they going?
Madam Clerk, these are the ones for Charles Street.
Charles Street and the Rath, yes.
So my question really is, if we're being asked to fund this, why are we not allowed to go out to tender for it ourselves to local florists? That's my only question. Why are we solely going to Pembrokeshire County Council to supply flowers? I'm just curious. I'm not saying no and that I'm against it. I obviously like the idea of flowers being in position. I'm just curious to know, for that amount of money, whether or not we can get something better for, or even. I'm just curious to know, why we have.
No, it's a good question. It is something that we've previously done, and we continue to question. One thing that does always seem to trip up the actual ability to be able to tender is we don't often get this request for, or the breakdown until last minute. So it's a short turnaround. And one of the things that we would lose by going to another florist or provider is the regular maintenance that the county council provide. But we have previously looked at alternative costs. Councillor Sharp, you're probably going to add something to that.
Well, I was going to add exactly the same.
Yeah.
I believe it's also the flowers that go outside the town hall, and okay, they have been cut down quite a bit in the last year, but on Hamilton Terrace there. But also it is the maintenance. They plant them all, they keep them all up to date and everything. We could go out and buy the plants, but then one of us would actually do the work.
Which, depending on the last two agenda items, that could be a possibility for next financial year, or the year after. But we'd need to start considering tenders in the new financial year. I would say. Mr. Deputy Mayor, you were next.
I think, just in answer to Councillor Bridges there, it also involves the huge plastic planters that the plants are physically in Charles Street as well. I'm sure this came up a few years back, and this is one of the reasons why we stayed with it, because anyone else would have to physically purchase those big displays or supply something else. And I think that was one of the deciding factors a few years back.
Yeah. To be fair, we often discuss this point, because actually, as we know through various discussions, it's about value for money and spreading our public money as far as we can go. Councillor Sinnott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I think one of the reasons for going with the county council is, they bulk purchase flowers for towns across the county. Therefore, there's a better deal by going in with them than if we decided to contract separately. However, it's always useful to test the market. But I'm just wondering what the timescale on this is, because they probably have to do their orders fairly quickly. So we would have to get quotes in fairly quickly, and it's for that reason I would suggest that we go with the county council for this next year, but that we market test for the following year. So we do that post precept setting. Thanks.
Madam Clerk, are we able to answer the timeline for this in terms of responding to PCC?
It's imminent. Within a couple of days.
Yeah. They do normally leave it very short for us. Councillor Gray.
Yeah, just because it says the begonias, the red non-stop ones, they're always put down. Where the memorial, we have the memorial, that is always done. So the timing of them to bloom is always for our remembrance days. So they add that. So there's that. So we always know that we've got the bloom in time for them.
Thank you for that. Councillor Bridges.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Only, again, just speaking my thought process aloud, only one thing that makes me slightly uncomfortable about this is that we're talking about a bill in the several thousand range, and yet we, as Councillor Sinnott just stated earlier, we're deferring the library discussion now to precept. It makes me uncomfortable from a public perception that we're voting on flowers this evening, and yet we're not committing to the library decision. Now, I've already made my public, my sentiment clear on how I intend to vote anyway. but I think that will reflect quite badly on the town. I can't assume for every other individual on the town council, of course, but I think that would look quite bad if we get to the preset point and we then do not vote to support a local public service, but yet we have voted through several £1,000 in flowers. Now, I'm happy to support both, to put that out there. I am not saying that I'm against either or, but I think that would look quite bad if we say yes to that tonight and then down the road we say no to the live. I'm just saying that from a perception standpoint, that doesn't look quite good. So I'm not sure what I'm saying exactly from a point of progress, but I'm speaking my mindset aloud in the sense that I'm happy to put it through because I think that the flowers are, they look lovely. And but yeah, I'm just a little bit uncomfortable about voting through something in the several thousand range, and yet we haven't we know we've got these bigger things coming slightly down the road. The time frame we're giving for these decisions from PCC is not ideal in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, no, I fully appreciate your point. Actually, I think that the difficulty or the different bit to the flowers discussion is this has been an annual problem. I say problem, annual discussion, and quote from PCC. I don't know, probably 8-9 years now, and we do often say we need to be better, but it's not us necessarily holding up that process. And I think whatever our decision is at the end of this agenda item, Councillor Sinnott raises a very valid point that once we know, we need to start considering for the next financial year, because we know how many of what we need, but we need to start early to consider those quotes, so we are in a better informed position for next time. Councillor Hartevelt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I was literally just going to mirror what you just said, that I think the urgency obviously is the fact that this order has to go in, and it has been something that has been on the it's been a rolling thing with the flowers. I do agree probably going out to tender is a good idea, but there are lots of things I think we need to take into consideration before we do that. And with the library, I think to discuss the library over Zoom, I think it needs a bit more of a fruitful conversation, to be honest. And I think you get that better face to face and at the time of talking budgets as well. So yeah, that's all I was going to say with that.
Thank you. Councillor Sharp.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to correct that I'm not reading the information wrong, because although I perfectly agree with what Councillor Bridges was stating about, we should really get our act together on this because we are authorising a payment of money. But twice he mentioned 7, but I'm looking at figures of 3,406.
No, I think he said several.
Oh, several. Sorry, Mr. Councillor Bridges. Sorry. It's my hearing. I'm getting old.
Yeah. I shouldn't have said yes then. This has been recorded, but yeah. Right. Councillor Jones.
Could we maybe move to accept this now and actually just say, right, next year in September, we'll start looking into that and get tender and have that in advance, plenty in advance.
Yes, okay. So Councillor Jones is recommended we accept the quote for this coming financial year, with the addition, as Councillor Sinnott asked earlier, that we start exploring the tender process moving forward for the next financial year, 27-28, that is, so that we're in a more informed position moving forward. Mr. Deputy Mayor, is that an amendment or is that a second?
It's a question stroke amendment, or you might say it's next year.
Okay.
Many towns have their flowers and displays sponsored. Is that something we can put into next year's, when we're looking at next year, we can put into the discussion?
Certainly worth considering. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Sharp, your hand is still raised. Is that a question or is that just familiar?
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I'll lower it. Beg your pardon.
No worries, thank you. In which case, unless there's any further amendments, all those in favour? Thank you. And I think that was everyone, but just for formality, anyone against? No. Okay, excellent. Right, agenda item 16, winter preparedness, salt bins and rock salts order. There's a report or an email exchanged attached from PCC, is it, or Highways Network? Sorry.
Highways Network.
Highways Network. Councillor Harteveld.
Hi. Yeah, I've been approached by a member of the public about this. With the salt bin, where will that salt bin be?
Madam Clerk.
The salt bins, which are going out to the various streets, you mean? So that they would choose the proper place to put them. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, are they going to be? How does it work? So we provide the salt, and how does it work then? Is this what I'm understanding from this?
We have no budget for any salt bins to be given anywhere, to be honest. I understand PCC will give the salt, and we've had this matter come up every time we have a bad winter. And we tell them we haven't got a budget in place. So it's up to us whether you want to put a budget in place in the precept, but we haven't got one at the moment. Anything would have to come to readers.
Okay, apologies, I misunderstood. So this is asking if we want the salt bins. It's not something that we generally do.
We don't generally do it, but it's what they're expecting us to do.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So, Madam Clerk, just so I can get this in my understanding correct, then, because the outcome of this email isn't necessarily that we want to support X amount of bins, or it could be, but it could be a recommendation that we're providing a budget line for that in the future. Because obviously, because according to the email chain, since 2010, we are delegated the responsibility from PCC for that process. Is that right?
Yes, we fight it off every time because we've never had a budget line in place.
Okay. Councillor Harteveld, did you have anything to add?
Oh, no, sorry.
Oh, no. Councillor Gray. Oh, you're on mute. Here we are.
Okay, you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it says this was delegated to us 2010. But can I ask them, is this mandatory?
I don't. Well, I can see a shaking head. Shaking head from a county councillor. I guess because it's obviously in his capacity as a town councillor. But I assume because it's delegated by their county council, we don't have to necessarily accept that because we are the elected officials for this town council.
Well, it just seems to me that even if we do provide the salt bins, we're then responsible to find the local volunteers to spread the salt.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
It's like, well, hang on then, and that's twice a year, so it's not just once, that's twice a year. And when requested by us. It just doesn't make sense.
No, I agree. Okay, Councillor Bridges, you were next.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just an observation on this is that obviously from a public perception, the spreading of salt is a local authority responsibility. And the reality is that if we were to start instigating installation of bins, the question then becomes, if we do not give them to everyone on every street, we are then leaving people out. So it becomes more of a issue. If we were even to put one in place, then why are we not giving them to another 100 and so streets or whatever it may be? The reality is, the public perception is that this service lays with the local authority. It is their, statutory duty to make sure the roads are, salted and so on and so forth. So by us even entering this field, we're getting ourselves into very sticky water because you can't provide it for one, not others. So, I mean, the only sort of the only thing in my mind I think we could even justify if we wanted one bin would be the cemetery grounds.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because the cemetery grounds falls within our responsibility. Yes. If we wanted a salt bin on the cemetery grounds to allow the staff, and then it is going to get refilled, I can see an argument for that. But as for placing them in Milford Haven, I would think that's a Pandora's box that we do not want to open, because we haven't got the financial capability to put one on every street, and therefore someone would not, we would be leaving the people out.
Yeah. Councillor Sinnott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I mean, the primary responsibility, the responsibility for the gritting primary routes, secondary routes, and to a lesser extent footpaths does remain with the local authority.
Mm-hmm.
There is a limit to the amount of salt and grit that we can store, and we can actually get out to the places that it get to. So the primary routes, so that people can get to work, people can get to town centres. Those are always priority areas. Councillor Bridges raises a good point around, how many of these bins do you want? How many of these bins would be have volunteers associated with them? It could quite quickly become quite expensive, but I don't want anyone to go away from this meeting thinking that there is no gritting that takes place from the county council. It does, and it did during the recent period that we have had. But having said that, do we want to augment that in any way? I think the issue of the cemetery is an interesting one. I would think, perhaps people wouldn't visit the cemetery if they couldn't get out on the main roads anyway. But which strategic routes do we want to, if any, do we want to have salt bins on? Is it hills where cars may slide or not? So, if we're going to do this, we've got to do it right. Otherwise, we keep Pandora's box closed, to use that metaphor that Councillor Bridges used.
Thank you. Councillor Hartevelt.
I completely agree with the fact that I think we would be opening ourselves up to a lot of criticism and basically trying to. It will be a salt bin lottery, wouldn't it? Who where we put them. But I do like the idea of one in the cemetery. As a cemetery user myself, I think that it definitely would be a good idea. And there are a lot of people who do use the cemetery on a regular basis, especially well, obviously not especially in the winter, but in the winter, they still do use it. So I think one at the cemetery, whether or not it's one we get from PCC or whether we do that ourselves, I think salt in the cemetery obviously is a vital one. Sorry, I'm just coming back to it now. So if we did the PCC one, then we have the installation of the bin as well. And so if we fill the rock salt for stock to be replenished, that £190 plus VAT includes 2 refills. Is that what it looks like?
Yeah. Well, I understood.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
it
believe
looks like
so
2.
too.
Okay. Well, I would propose that we put one in the cemetery, but obviously that's down to, if it's a precept matter, it's not.
Well, I think the only issue with the cemetery is in the last paragraph, it says the highways team are only able to supply bins for use on adopted roads or public rights of way.
Oh, right.
So
okay.
I think there's a couple of elements to this. So I think one of our recommendations could be that we ask the clerk to investigate the purchase of a salt bin appropriate for the cemetery for us to install, but that would be under our own steam rather than via PCC.
Yeah, agreed.
Councillor Bridges.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I'm playing this out of my mind, and I realise it was me who said I could take an argument in my mind for one in the cemetery, but I'm now playing that out of my mind. The one thing I would state now that I'm thinking it through is by us having them in place. I'm thinking of an insurance standpoint from this. If we then have them and then we don't spread them properly or we don't use them properly, and somebody does slip and have an injury and we've put it in placement, I'd like to know from the clerk having discussion with our insurer where we stand from that point, because we could be opening ourselves there quite in a way that because by not having them in the first place, we're not, but by placing them and then not using them correctly, we then could be opening ourselves up, and especially with ice, if somebody does slip and hurt themselves quite badly on ice, and then it turns out we have put a salt bin in place, we have then not used it accordingly, then whereas if we didn't have it in the first place, there wouldn't be any claim or liability to us in the first place. So I'm just worried that could be something that we should investigate with our insurer as well.
Yeah, good point. Councillor Stevens?
Yay! Right. Surely if we're paying our road tax, then it is Pembrokeshire County Council's responsibility to do the roads and look after and maintain the roads.
They only ever do the main.
But it's still their responsibility. If someone slips on those highways, on the pavements, then they're the ones, Pembrokeshire County Council, because that is their job. That's the whole point of us paying our taxes, is to make sure our roads are looked after and our streets are looked after by the council. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's obviously in 2010, though, PCC wanted to start offloading some of those costs.
So does that mean that they can give lower rates to the residents then, because we are financially doing the streets for doing Pembrokeshire County Council's job? And as Mr. Bridges, Councillor Bridges said, we are going to be the ones that are in line if anything happens, if we miss a street or anything, we're the ones that are gonna feel the effects of it. I don't agree that it is down to us, that's all. I'm all for the cemetery, but after all, everything they're spending money on, then surely they can be gritting the streets and gritting the roads, even the smaller roads, It's wrong.
Okay, I think unless there's anything new to add, I think the general consensus is we don't wish to progress once again, because we haven't up until this point. But outside of that recommendation, we will still investigate the cost of a salt bin for the cemetery under our own steam. But in addition, we also explore with our insurers where we would stand by having one and then not using it through periods of bad weather. For example, the was it last week or the week before where we had the extreme snow? So if we didn't manage to get any employed staff to the cemetery, but a member of the public happened to go to the cemetery because they were closer, for example, and then slipped, but because the salt wasn't deployed, where would we stand in an example like that? And I think it's important that we do consider the implication should we then decide to go ahead. Mr. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. When I was involved in facilities and estates, this came up a few times, and I mean, I can't speak for our own insurance company, but the argument we had back was that we had to show a potential duty of care. Now, leave the streets aside, because I feel like others do, that's for PCC. In the cemetery, I'm going to disagree with Councillor Bridges on this one. I understand totally where he's coming from, but I think we probably have a duty of care to at least spread some around the entrances, the entrance to the office for our own staff. Just so that we've got some protection. I don't think, certainly from past experience of working in hospitals and places, we can be expected to cover the whole cemetery. I don't think it's feasible, I don't think it's practical, I don't think it's realistic, but I do think we should probably have one just inside the cemetery to do the entrances and to the chapel and perhaps our offices.
Okay. Councillor Gray? You're on mute again. Can't hear you yet. Unless it's me, I can't hear Councillor Gray. Oh,
Can you
You're
hear me?
unmuted. Yeah.
Yeah, now.
Yeah. Yeah. On the one about the cemetery, because it's private land, it's basically our land.
Yeah.
If we do, I mean, it doesn't have to be like the yellow bins that they provide. We can have our own bin and purchase our own rock salt. And surely on the notice boards, we can put a notice up that you enter, like they normally do, at your own discretion and your own risks. Surely if we put a notice up by order of the committee, you enter and that covers us. Like
Yeah,
indemnity.
we can include that with the discussion with the insurers, and then that'll come back to full council for discussion then.
Yeah.
So the recommendation then is that we go back to PCC saying thank you, but no thank you. We're not going to be recommending any locations or wishing to budget for this element. And then the separate part on the cemetery rock salt bin exploration, and also with the insurers for further discussion then by full council. Do we have a seconder for that?
Yep.
Okay, all those in favour?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. I think that was unanimous, but just in case anyone against or abstaining? No, excellent. Agenda item 17 is One Voice Wales, so please see attached. And then 17A is the annual general meeting on the 21st of January 2026. I think the main or key takeaway from that is the AGM is a virtual or remote meeting on the Wednesday evening, and we're being asked to recommend one councillor to represent our council at that. Is there a councillor who would be interested? And before anyone suggests the mayor, unfortunately, I'm not available that evening. I am away with work. Councillor Gray. Although you're on mute, but I'm reading that as you'd like to be recommended.
Yes, because it's virtual, so I won't have an issue with attendance.
Okay, so is anyone else wanting to recommend themselves? Otherwise, do we have a second of a Councillor Gray to be our nomination?
Yes.
I think that was almost unanimous. Those in favour? Excellent. Thank you, Councillor Gray. 17B then is the AGM motions 2025. So you'll see the list of motions that other councils have put forward. Unless there's any comments, we'll move receipt. Yeah. So all those in favour?
Cool.
Thank you. And then 17C then is the One Voice Wales Constitution. It does say 2025 on the agenda pack actually, but 2026 in the actual pack. So I think it's for the next year.
Unless any comments, move receipt.
Excellent. So do we have a seconder? Thank you. All those in favour? Thank you. Right, there is a note there then about HR matters. I'm just putting it out there. Does anyone wish to call to go to private session? Otherwise, we'll continue. Okay, agenda item 18 then. Receive reports, recommendations and resolutions of the following committee. Establishment committee held on the 17th of November 2025. Again, because it's committee, I'll go page by page. Having said that, there is only one page, so page 96.
96. Oh,
Cool.
where's 96?
Okay.
96.
98. 97. 90. Oh God, that's 88.
If it's of any help, it's actually page 49 of your pack. The paper pack is. So it's near the end, but it's got 96 at the bottom, just to confuse us all. Because it forms part of the minute book, doesn't it? Which is page 96.
I'll find page 96.
Councillor Sharp.
I think unless any questions, we move receipt.
Okay, do we have a seconder?
Seconded.
Thank you. And in which case, all those in favour? Okay.
Oh,
Thank
sorry.
you. Anyone against or abstaining? No, excellent. Agenda item 19 then, the Christmas contract